Please, believers, Christians, come, let us reason. No fight. You say that there is a God in the Bible. There's a Bible God that sees both in spirit and in physical, right? He loves us and he watches over us 24/7. That whatever we are doing, both physically and spiritually, he sees everything. Good, I agree. Now, that same God, that same Bible God you are talking about, who sees everything both in spirit and in physical, he will sit down and watch your so-called village uncles, according to you guys, your so-called village grandmothers, tying your destinies in the spiritual realm, tying your wombs in the spiritual realm, tying the destiny of your kids in the spiritual realm, causing problem in your life in the spiritual realm. You just sit down like this and watch. The ever-loving God, the ever-loving Bible God, who sees both in physical and in spiritual. He will sit down and watch your grandmothers and your grandfathers tying your destiny, and he couldn't do anything. He couldn't stop them. He couldn't stand up and be like, no, do not tie the destiny of my child. This person is my child. Okay, now let me give you an example. You are a human being, right? And you are a father or a mother. And you have a son. And you love that your son so much. And you sit down and watch somebody tying your son or beating your son up. Would you react? Or you would just sit down and watch that person dealing with your son as a human being? I know that the first thing you would do as a father, as a loving father, is when you see somebody beating your child, somebody tying your child's hand, the first thing you would do is to stand up and go and fight that person and stop that person from tying your son down. That is what you do as a human being. So if you, as a human being, you could react this way, when you see somebody dealing with your child, you could react immediately and stop that person from dealing with your child, how much more God, who has all the powers? Why would he sit down and watch your enemies, your so-called enemies, your grandmothers, as you guys always accuse them, your grandfathers, your uncles in the village? Why would a God who loves you so much sit down like this and watch your grandmother and your grandfather tying your destiny without doing anything? And the funniest part of it is that that same God will sit down and wait for you to go and meet a pastor, give him tithes and offering and sow seed in his life, then ask that pastor to go and tell God to come and untie you, come and deliver you from the hands of your grandmother in the name of deliverance services. Right. So the God will sit down and watch your enemy tying you down in the spiritual realm. You sit down and watch and wait for you to go and meet a pastor and give that pastor tithe, offering, and seed. Then that pastor will go and tell God to come and release you from the bondage where your grandmother and your grandfather tied you down. So God couldn't do anything. You have to wait first for you to go through the pastor. Then the pastor will go to him. Then he will start, before he will start releasing you with the powers in the prayer from the pastor. Guys, let us wake up. Let us wake up.